Welcome to our video lesson on multiplying equations or solving multiplication equations. Before we start, I want to remind you of our goal. Our goal, just like in the other types of equations with addition and subtraction, our goal is to get the variable alone or by itself. If by itself makes more sense, right? By itself, doesn't matter. By itself. What does that look like? That's this question right here. What would that actually look like? That looks like k equals. So the only thing on this side of the equal signs is the variable, our k, or x equals. Again, the only thing on this side of our equal sign is the variable, x. Or it could be on the other side. We could have r is equal to, and it could be on this side. It doesn't matter. The thing that matters is that our variable is alone. Let's get started. It says solve each equation and then check your solution. It's important that we check our solutions to make sure we got it right. To solve these equations, we need to get the variable alone. Remember, that's our goal. So let's look at our first one. We have 4n equals 68. Remember, when there's no operation symbol, it's secretly a times. So there's a little dot in between here that says 4 times n. Okay, now we need to get n by itself. What can we do? What's in the way? What's in the way is this 4 right here. So we need to get rid of the 4. To get rid of the 4, we're going to divide this by 4, because 4 divided by 4 gives us 1, and 1 times n is just itself. So we can then cross out these 4's, and all will be left on this side is n. Whatever we do to the one side, it's like a mirror. We need to do the same thing to the other side. So we're going to divide our 68 by 4. Now that you'll probably have to do some work for on the side, so I'll take 68. I have to write it down a little bit lower. So we have 68, and we're dividing it by 4. How many times does 4 go into 6? Once. 1 times 4 is 4. 6 minus 4 is 2. We bring down that 8. 4 goes into 28 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. Subtraction, we get a 0. So that means that our n is equal to 17. A few things to notice. Notice that my equal signs here are lined up perfectly. And my variable is now by itself, so I just have n is equal to. Now we're going to check and make sure this is right. To check, the first thing you're going to do is write your equation. 4n is equal to 68. Now we want to check and see if this 17 makes this equation true. So I'm going to write 4 times 17 equals, with a little question mark on top. The reason for that is we're not sure if it's true or not. We're not sure if it's true or not. Is 4 times 17 really equal to 68? Well, let's check. 17 times 4. 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6. So that means that 68 is equal to 68, and we know we are correct. If you get a different number here, it means you made a mistake. So you need to go back and see where your mistake was. Check your work. All right, let's do the next example together. In number 2 is different from number 1 because we have the 6x on the other side of the equal sign, but it's really doing the same thing. We have 144 is equal to 6 times, remember there's a little time symbol in between there, 6 times x. We need to get this x alone, the variable by itself. So to do that, we need to get rid of this 6, which is in our way. We have 6 times x, so we're actually going to divide this whole side by 6. That makes this a 1 and cancels it out because 6 divided by 6 is 1. Whatever we do to the one side, we have to do the same thing to the other side. It's like a mirror. Then, on this side, all we're left with is our x. Now we need to check what 144 divided by 6 is. 6 goes into 14 twice. 2 times 6 is 12. Subtraction, 14 minus 12 is 2. Bring down that 4. 6 goes into 24 4 times. And 4 times 6 is 24. So that means that x is equal to 24. now we're done our question, and you can circle this because it's our answer, but we need to do our check. Oh. Sorry about that. We need to do our check. So the first thing is to write our equation. 144 is equal to 6x. Now instead of writing x, we need to substitute in 24. So we have 144 equals 6 times 24. I'm going to add this little question mark up here because we're checking to see if this is true. We don't know it or not. So we're going to write 144 here, and then we're going to find what 6 times 24 is. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14. So we do get that 144 is equal to 144. That means our check is correct, and our answer was right. We have two more examples here. They're a little bit harder because they have decimals, but it's the exact same principle. You are going to divide, here we have 0 and 8/10 times p is equal to 32. So we need to get this p by itself. To get p by itself, we're going to divide both sides by 0 and 8/10. That cancels these two out, so all we have left on this side is our p equals. And then what we do to one side, we have to do the same thing to the other. So we have 32 divided by 0 and 8/10. Now this is involving decimals. How to write this? We have 32 divided by 0 and 8/10. Hopefully you remember from our bell work and from earlier in the year. When we have a decimal outside here, the first thing you need to do is move the decimal to the right. Whatever you do outside, you have to do the same thing inside. So we're going to move this to the right. Add a 0 here. Bring our decimal up. So now we can do, how many times does 8 go into 32? 8 goes into 32 4 times. 4 times 8 is 32. Subtraction, get a 0. And we're going to bring down that 0. How many times can 8 go into 0? 0 times. And 0 times 8 is 0. Subtraction, get a 0. And now we're at our decimal, and there's no more numbers to bring down, so we're done. So we know that p is equal to 40. Now we need to do our check. We have 0 and 8/10 times p is equal to 32. Instead of writing p, I'm going to write 40. So we're going to check and see if 0 and 8/10 times 40 really is equal to 32. So now I need to check this, and I'm putting my question mark because we're not sure up there. So I have 0 and 8/10 times 40. Well, 0 times 8 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. Goes 0. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. We add it together, so I have 320. But then I count how many decimals are in my question, and we have one decimal place, so I add that into my answer. So we get 32. So we know we got the answer correct because it says 32 is equal to 32. If we got a different number here, we would have to go back and check what our mistake was. All right, this is the last example we're going to do together. If you feel like you can do it by yourself, feel free to pause the video and then play it to make sure you got the right answer. If you want to follow along with me, you're welcome to. So here we have 5 and 6/10 is equal to 1 and 4/10 times b. We need to get our b alone, so we're going to divide both sides by 1 and 4/10. Now, these cancel out, so not the whole thing, not the b. The two numbers cancel each other out, so now on this side all we're left with is b. But we need to check what 5 and 6/10 divided by 1 and 4/10 is. I'm going to erase some of this so I have a little more space. All right, so I have 5 and 6/10 divided by 1 and 4/10. You're going, Miss Fortune, there's a decimal. The first thing you're going to do is get rid of that. So move it over here. You're multiplying it by 10. Whatever you do outside, you have to do the same thing inside, so we're going to move this over here, multiplying that by 10. Now we have 14 divided into 56. So we need to check and figure out how many times 14 would go into 56. Well, my guess would be about 4. So we're going to check what's 14 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. You know what? I was right. So we have 14 times 4. 4 is 56. And we subtract it, and we get a 0. There's no more numbers to bring down, so we're actually done. Our b is equal to 4. Now we need to do our check. Start by writing your equation. Make sure you see my decimals here. Next step is to substitute in our answer. Is that really equal to 1 4/10 times 4? And now we need to check it. So we're going to take 1.4 and multiply it by 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Then we have 1 decimal place up here, so we have 1 down here as well. So that means that 5 6/10 is equal to 5 6/10. We got it right. Yay! If you got a different answer here, again, or sorry, over here, again, you need to go back and check your answer. That's all for now. If you want to rewatch any part of it, please feel free to. I'll talk to you later.